It's a serious situation, and we're concerned. We're concerned about this escalation. We always will support sovereignty and territorial integrity of countries wherever their geographic location is. The future of Greenland, decisions about the future of Greenland are for Greenland and Denmark to decide.
A new development in America's backyard has made U.S. President Donald Trump soften his stance towards Prime Minister Mark Carney, as Canada-China ties have been reset after almost a decade of a rough patch. A probable world order threat to the U.S. that Trump refused to acknowledge. In 2025, Trump ended U.S.-Canada trade talks over an anti-tariffs advertisement Ontario released, featuring Republican President Ronald Reagan promoting free trade, as POTUS described the ad as fake. But on January 16th, when Trump was asked about Carney's visit to China and locking trade deals, President Trump gave an unusual response. "It's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal with China," Trump said. Smell of fear or some strategy is awaiting.
Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you see the deals Canada and China have just signed, trade deals between the two partners?
Well, it's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
But even after Trump's soft stance towards Carney, his announcement of slapping tariffs on European allies over Greenland and his obsession with acquiring the Arctic island has not gone unnoticed by Carney. The Canadian Prime Minister said that Canada will always support national sovereignty, stressing that Greenland's future must be decided by Greenland and Denmark. Responding to questions on Trump's tariff threats, he said he is concerned about the situation, warned of escalating tensions, and said Greenland's security should be addressed through NATO cooperation.
Good afternoon, everyone.
So my question is, how can Canada accept this? What are you going to do about it, including adding to the military presence in Greenland? And what are you going to tell Mr. Trump? What's your message to Mr. Trump about this economic coercion if you meet him in Davos?
Thank you for this very precise questions. It's a serious situation, and we're concerned. We're concerned about this escalation, to be absolutely clear. We always will support sovereignty and territorial integrity of countries wherever their geographic location is. I might add, to bring it to the current discussion today, as part of the discussions the Emir and I had about a series of situations which would have a common element, which is threats to or compromising territorial integrity and sovereignty, Ukraine being a very prominent example. But I'll bring it back now to Greenland. So we will always support that. The future of Greenland, decisions about the future of Greenland are for Greenland and Denmark to decide. And the security of Greenland, security is first and foremost for them, but very much falls within the responsibilities of NATO. I've spoken to the Prime Minister of Greenland, and there's a full commitment, not surprisingly, as is appropriate, of NATO partners to the security of Greenland. That's the right way to address this security, and the right way, finish and then hand back, in terms of whether it's development of critical minerals, is to develop in partnership.
You didn't mention the United States once. I asked you, what are you going to say to Mr. Trump about this economic coercion?
I'm going to say everything I just said. How's that?
Trump's softened stance towards Carney happened just after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney visited China on January 14th for his first visit to meet President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang after strained bilateral ties for a long time. Carney was in Beijing to recalibrate Canada's complex relationship with China, and he did do that. Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Canadian Prime Minister announced tariff reductions following a key meeting in Beijing, signaling a reset in bilateral relations. China plans to cut duties on Canadian canola oil from 85% to 15% by March 1st, while Canada will apply a 6.1% most favored nation tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, Carney said. The agreement marks a major breakthrough following years of tense relations and retaliatory tariffs, and it could be China's easy ticket to Greenland, which Trump will definitely not like. Post the deal, Carney, in a press conference, announced that Canada is forging a new strategic partnership with China.
It has been a historic and productive 2 days, during which myself and fellow ministers have had the opportunity to meet with President Xi, Premier Li, Chairman Zhao, as well as business leaders across a number of key sectors. And I am very pleased to announce that we have made significant progress in a number of key areas. Stepping back, it's been 8 years since a Canadian Prime Minister visited China. And in that time, the world has changed dramatically. The technological revolution and the energy transition are accelerating at an unprecedented pace. The global trading system is undergoing a fundamental change, and the effectiveness of multilateral institutions on which trading powers such as Canada and China have greatly relied, that effectiveness has been greatly reduced. This is happening fast, it's large, it's a rupture, it's not a transition. What we do now is Canada. How we position ourselves in the world will shape our future for decades to come. Canada can thrive in a new system, but to do so, we must be ambitious. We must work at speed and scale to find new partners, to diversify our trade and attract unprecedented levels of investment in our country. And we must be pragmatic. That means we have to understand the differences between Canada and other countries, and then focus our efforts to work together where we're aligned. And it's with this approach that Canada is forging a new strategic partnership with China. China is the world's second largest economy. It contributes 1/3 to global growth. It's our second largest trading partner and our third largest investor. Two-way trade between our countries amounts to nearly $120 billion a year. There are 400,000 careers across Canada. Farmers in the prairies, manufacturers and engineers in Ontario and Quebec, fish harvesters in Atlantic Canada and British Columbia, they are all supported by trade with China. $20 billion in wages are earned each year by Canadians because of our existing trade relationship. And this is a relationship that has been distant and uncertain for nearly a decade. That has held back investment, it's stalled business growth, and cost Canadian workers good opportunities. And it has had the consequence of leaving us even more dependent on our largest trading partner. And that's why immediately after the election, Canada's new government began to recalibrate our relationship with China, strategically, pragmatically, and decisively. There are 2 million Canadians of Chinese descent, leaders across commerce, technology, and culture. Mandarin is Canada's fourth most spoken language. There is much to protect in this relationship and much on which to build and much to be gained. So leveraging our strengths and focusing on areas of alignment, Canada and China can create greater stability, security, and prosperity for both our nations. And to that end, President Xi and I are announcing that Canada and China are forging a new strategic partnership. It will focus on 5 key areas where both our nations stand to make substantial and sustained gains. The first is in clean energy and climate competitiveness, areas where Canada and China have immense strengths and complementary strengths. Second, we're expanding trade, particularly in agriculture and food, where Canada is a reliable partner. Third, our commitment to multilateralism and strengthening global governance comes at a time when all of this is in flux. Fourth, we're deepening engagement in public safety and security to protect our peoples. And finally, people-to-people ties and culture are being enhanced to enrich our lives. To begin, We're leveraging our strengths in energy, clean tech, and climate competitiveness. Canada is an energy superpower in both conventional and clean energies. We have an over 80% clean electricity grid with vast potential to power the clean economy of the future. China's strengths in electric vehicle sector are undeniable. China produces some of the most affordable and efficient energy efficient vehicles in the world. And in order for Canada to build our own competitive EV sector, we need to learn from innovative partners, access their supply chains, and increase local demand. And to help bring down costs for Canadians, Canada has agreed to allow up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into the Canadian market, with the most favored nation tariff rate of 6.1%. This is a return to the levels that existed prior to recent trade frictions. But it's a return under an agreement that promises much more for Canadians. It's expected that within 3 years, this agreement will drive considerable Chinese investment in Canada's auto sector, creating good careers in Canada and accelerating our progress towards a net zero future and the auto industry of the future. With this agreement, it's also anticipated that within 5 years, more than 50% of these vehicles will be affordable EVs with an import price of less than $35,000. Over the next 15 years, Canada intends to double our energy grid through major investments in hydro, nuclear, solar, and wind power. That creates tremendous opportunities for Chinese partnerships in these investments, including in energy storage and offshore wind. On the other hand, Canada is developing our oil and natural gas reserves, one of the world's largest, to be the lowest risk, lowest cost, and lowest carbon. Last June, we exported our first LNG shipment to Asia, and we're scaling up quickly, making major investments in streamlining approvals. By 2030, Canada will produce 50 million tons of LNG each year, all of which will be destined for Asian markets.